In the 13th century, legends claim the scholar Albert the Great constructed a mechanical bronze head capable of answering any question posed to it. His student, Thomas Aquinas, grew so frustrated with the machine's constant chatter that he took a staff and smashed it to bits. It stands as the first recorded physical rejection of artificial intelligence. We are now seeing a modern version of this tension, where the very architects of our new digital minds are publicly warning that their creations could end civilization. Elon Musk exemplifies this internal conflict. He has labeled AI more dangerous than nuclear weapons and called for a global pause in development, only to immediately launch his own AI company. This behavior suggests the AI race is not being guided by a rational plan, but by a systemic pressure that even its leaders feel powerless to resist. This pressure is known in game theory as the Moloch Trap. It's a mechanism where players are forced into a race to the bottom, escalating dangerous behavior just to keep pace with their rivals. The logic of the trap is cold. Developers push high-risk technologies forward because they assume that if they stop, a competitor will simply take the lead. On the global stage, this manifests as a geopolitical panic. Nations integrate AI into their infrastructure and militaries because the alternative is losing dominance to a rival like China. Locally, it's a corporate sprint. Companies integrate AI into every product to avoid being left behind in the market, regardless of the long-term cost. To maintain this competitive advantage, we sacrifice the very things that sustain us: millions of jobs, our energy grids, and our children's psychological health. As the race accelerates, we lose our grip on objective truth, unable to tell a real person from a digital fabrication. We are effectively building the tools of our own displacement, choosing to sacrifice what is precious simply because the game theory of competition demands it. While our technology is new, the crisis is ancient. Mythology has been mapping out these exact dangers for thousands of years. Consider the symbols of the Holy Grail and the Holy Lance. These represent the two extremes of all human technology. The Grail is the vessel of endless inward abundance, and the lance is the weapon of ultimate outward destruction. Every tool we've ever invented, from the first sharpened stone to the latest algorithm, exists somewhere on this spectrum between feeding a community and conquering an enemy. In the Arthurian legend, a knight named Balin enters the Grail castle. He is so blinded by a desire for power and vengeance that he fails to recognize the purpose of the relics around him. In a moment of rage, Balin uses the lance to strike the king. This single act of misuse turns the kingdom into a barren wasteland. Balin's frenzy mirrors the current rush toward AI. We are grabbing the most powerful tools available and integrating them into every system without understanding the damage they might deal to our world. The myth tells us that finding the miraculous object is only the beginning. The actual quest requires something more difficult than discovery. To heal the wasteland, the knight must ask one specific question: whom does the Grail serve? Our world celebrates the invention of the fastest and most efficient miracles, but we are failing to pause and ask who these algorithms are actually serving. Global regulation and top-down pauses are struggling to gain traction, because the Moloch Trap makes cooperation feel like a strategic surrender. High-tech escape plans offer little hope either. Moving to Mars, or merging our brains with computers, doesn't solve the problem of a human mind that has become entirely dependent on its tools. Marshall McLuhan warned about this outcome in the 1960s. He argued that as we integrate completely with our technology, we risk being reduced to little more than the reproductive organs of the machines themselves. Since the macro systems are currently locked in a race they cannot stop, the battleground for human agency has shifted. If we cannot fix the system, we have to look at the individual. As AI begins to handle our memory, our logic, and our basic skills, the only way to remain the master of the machine is to foster those same traits internally. This is a deeper application of Jordan Peterson's focus on personal responsibility. It requires us to maintain sovereignty over our own habits and minds before we can hope to impact the world. In this context, learning a dance, memorizing a poem, or gardening become acts of internal fortification. They are ways of keeping our human capacities sharp while the digital world tries to make them obsolete. Education has to move away from being a transactional way to get a job and return to its original goal of making a person fully human. Those who allow their wisdom and virtue to atrophy will become vassals to the technology. Only those who have practiced truth and love will remain autonomous. We cannot stop the tide of technology, but we can decide how we meet it. When the machine finally offers us the world, we must have the presence of mind to ask, "Whom do I serve?"